Okay, hello everyone. Hello. Let's see here. So welcome back to the Odin, to my little Odin 7-day jam stream. I wasn't streaming yesterday, but now today I'm doing a little update stream here. So I thought we would begin with looking at the little Discord server I have. Can I make this bigger? Yes. So, this is the Odin 7-day jam. It's a game jam. So you make a game in 7 days and you use the Odin programming language. That's the main thing, right? So on my, if you want to join this, you can still join. It's like 5 days left, so you can still join. And on the Discord server, which is linked in the description also, there's an itch page where you register for the jam, then the community is on Discord. I have this little channel here called the Odin 7-day jam, and people are posting such nice updates there. So it's fun to see all the things people are posting. Maybe I should go through them a bit more in a, we can do like this maybe. Whatever. So we have like, here is some interesting pixely stuff going on. Here is Perlin's little, it looks like some kind of maze-ish castle thing going on. This person's been very fun to follow because he brought sort of his own little homemade game engine, and it's also been posting nice incremental updates, so that's fun. And that's the thing again. Yeah, so Perlin has been posting these things, and there's some kind of nice little, I think this was some kind of Factorio style with little conveyor belts going on. A little screenshot there, and more from this thing and stuff. So it's just fun to see all the stuff people are posting. Here's some kind of pathfinding, and there's Perlin again. Here's someone who just got their game up and running. So it's just fun to see all these things. Here's someone with some nice billboards of some trees. Here's my stuff. I'll show that in a bit. But yeah, it's been fun to just hang out in the channel and see things happen. Here is a Giraffe in Orbit's little raft game. Very nice. And here is some kind of little thing. I think this one has some kind of light. Yeah, this is some kind of light thing. And you can see the numbers here, which represent the different light values in the room. But it's cool to see all these things happen as the jam progresses. So if you want to join and post, if you want to join, then you can join on the itch page, linked in the description. And then you can also hop into the Discord and post inside there. Super fun to see. Let's see, I can bring out a little chat here, like I usually do. Let me do it like that. Okay, enough about Discord. So I have been doing, let's see what Sublime opens now. Right, that stuff. So if you watched my little stream the first day, now first we're gonna open some coffee. I have a thermos of freshly brewed coffee here. Let's see how it is. This is now the coffee tasting stream before we go any further. Let's see how we did with the coffee brewing today. I've been kind of geeking out with coffee. I'm starting to do like all these, like pour over coffee and experimenting with different methods. It smells good. Nice. So, if you watched my stream the other day, the first day I like just the first 5 hours or something, whatever. Where did chat go? There you go. So. Next step is to grow your own coffee. I have a grinder and everything, but yeah, it will be something to. I just need to move to like a high altitude, warm place. I don't know. Guess I have to move to like South America. Sweden coffee, not so good for growing coffee. So the first day I was working on this for a few hours, just like I could play some houses and stuff. If anyone watched my stream, I didn't have like a very enthusiastic vibe when I was working on this. So I kind of abandoned this idea because it just felt a bit similar to what I've done before, and in a sort of I don't know. It just didn't spark joy for me. So I actually abandoned it. So yesterday I was playing around a bit with, because I made this SOKOL hot reload template, and then I ended up not using it for a jam, it seemed like. But then I was like, okay, but what I really want to try to do is do more like first person stuff. So I just played around with it yesterday, like this. So I've been playing around with like some kind of first person camera stuff where you can jump around and some stuff. There's not much going on yet. This is, if you watched my RAYLIB stuff, I did. Remember, I kind of tried to do a little adventure game, first-person adventure game in RAYLIB in 3D. I mean, what I have here is similar. Like the collision works in a similar way, and yeah, I've been a bit inspired by what I did in that code. So I'm just poking around with this. So that was what I did yesterday. So I haven't been so hardcore this jam as the previous jam. Maybe it's because it's longer. I don't know. Also, I just felt a bit off. I wasn't. Yeah, I think the other game I wasn't so excited. So, but it was fun to work on this yesterday. So the way this works, this uses the SOKOL hot reload template I made. So. It's essentially just, well, I mean, what it is right now is just a first-person camera and some blocks plus something to step on the block. Like I can jump and I can fall down, stuff like that. So there's nothing much going on yet, really. Right. So we have like, I mean, in this game we have the usual SOKOL stuff, right? We have like. We use SOKOL to begin a drawing pass, and we go over some objects, and we apply some transforms, and we have like a little model view projection matrix that we calculate based on I guess actually these the view matrix and the projection matrix I could calculate outside of here. That's very unnecessary, but this is just like, this is a loop that loops over all the objects. This is just my first initial attempt at this, but it's quite nice. You can vary you could, for example, go here and be like, oh, move the sun up 10 meters, and then it sort of just moves, because that is set each frame by these fragment shader parameters. We could even, I guess, now you know what I'm gonna do, right? You could like sign, what's it called? Isn't there a SAP get time? Isn't there like a way to make the sun move? SAP app.odin. So I'm not used to all these. Frame duration. Oh yeah, I think you have to count that up yourself. Unless I misremember. Yeah. Or I could use a timer, I mean an ODIN timer thingy. That would be fine too. But yeah, we could do that. We can be like there probably should be an F64. That time, because I assume frame duration. Yeah, it returns an F64. Right. And then we could do something like this. I guess it's in the math-lib, the sin. Yeah, there it's moving, but it's moving slowly because the amplitude is not so big for this sine function yet, and that you fix by multiplying this. Now we move 10 meters back and forth. Whee! Whee! Yeah, like that. Fun stuff, fun stuff. You can make it go 10 times bigger, then you multiply the parameter into the thing. Right, now we have, welcome to my disco. Right, so yeah, that's very annoying, but hey, it works. But it's the usual. That's the I just use the in SOKOL. You can use like in the init proc. I use the shape stuff from SOKOL to create a box model, and then I use that to create few different boxes. That's all it is really, of different sizes. So what I would like to experiment a bit with is making the sort of the first person camera feel nice. I think it's nice to have like your first person, like this is something I was inspired by a few months back. I think during the previous, I think it was Kebab Skull who made something where it was not in the previous game jam, but some ODIN experiment where the camera just looked so nice. And I thought that, oh yeah, if you have a camera, like an FPS camera, that's your main mechanic. There is some value to just making that stuff feel nice, right? So let's play around with just, because you can just have a FPS camera and just follow, like just walk around, you know. But maybe, I don't know if you can see it, but on this thing here, when I start walking, there is a slight field of view change. I played around with that yesterday. Wow, that was me moving my mouse. But you can feel that it sort of, it pulls back the field of view a bit. And that was just like something I want to play around with more of those things. Maybe a little tilt when you run sideways, stuff like that. Just fun first person things, right? Off-topic question: how are Swedish people taught to memorize which is sin and which is kos? I don't know. I think I just taught myself. I don't remember. I just remember which yeah. I mean, I think I just remembered that one of them starts at 0 and one starts at 1, and then like I just remember which one it is that starts at 0 and which one. But actually, I mean, in some cases, what you learn is like this kind of. Actually, now that I think of it, sometimes you learn this kind of. You learn this kind of circle, you know, blah blah blah, and you know, in the circle, like you have one. You have 0 degrees here, and if you think of it as an XY plane, that's how I with my 2D brain would remember it. That this gives like, since X has to do with the X has to do with, well, how to say? In my brain, the cosine had to do with X, so 0 must be 1 and 180 degrees must be -1. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think many games maybe have a bit too simple first-person camera. Like they just like, okay, the important thing is what's happening in the game, but your main mechanic is the walking around in the world. Like that's the thing you do the most. So maybe that should feel nice or something. Anyways, so. Let's play around a bit more with this. I was looking at. I have these procedures that create the view matrix, which is the matrix that says where in the world you are. And I was a bit confused yesterday. I was trying to make it sort of, yeah, I would like it to have a bit of roll when you run sideways like that. But I was playing around with the roll parameter of this yaw pitch roll, because that's, you know, how you often make a 3D. That's how you often make a 3D first-person camera. You have like the yaw is this and the pitch is this, right? So what's up with that? Why I just put 3 here just to try to get a number in there, but it doesn't work. So what's up with that? Is it that it's based on how I rotate it, it's not considered, because it makes a matrix based on a yaw, pitch, and a roll, and then it multiplies that matrix by a vector that's looking down the z-axis, which means it just takes for the forward vector. This is just the forward vector, and then it rotates that so that it looks in that direction. So I guess, yeah. I think I see the problem. If you rotate something that looks down the z-axis, then nothing will happen. Because if you roll it around, maybe, yeah, the roll has more to do with. Let me try to do something funny here. This is just hacking around, trying to understand math from matrix for rotate. How do you? Is there a? No, it should be like a. Isn't there a procedure to make? Whatever. Let's try this. So 0, 0, and then we take 2. So this is a matrix that just for the roll part of it. And then, hold on, then we do something like this. We multiply the up vector, which is this. Hold on, I'm gonna change it back to an up vector. Like that. So our up vector becomes multiplied. Here you go. I think that worked. Whee! That's weird. So if I do like 0.2 now, does it? Yeah, that's exactly what you want, because you don't want, this is like a cosmetic thing. So I can just pull my mouse sideways and it actually always just feels like everything is leaning now. So yeah, the reason I can't rotate this one is because the roll doesn't do anything, because this matrix, this vector here is looking straight down Z, and rolling it's just like rolling you have a chopstick and you roll it, it's gonna look the same, or unless it's if it's cylindrical. And if you have a pen and you roll it like that, and if it's completely symmetric, nothing happens, right? So that's sort of what happened there. But the look at procedure here takes an up vector as well, and that sort of says what is up, and then we roll that one a bit. But the forward vector you can pitch and yaw, because if you have the pen looking down, you can pitch it, which is looking up and down, and you can yaw it, which is rotating it like this. But this doesn't do anything if you roll it, right? So that's why that didn't do anything for my look direction, which is the position plus essentially the look. This is a vector here, so it's like the position where the player is at plus a vector like 1 meter away in the rotation, and then I use the look at. I'm not sure if this is the best way. Maybe I could construct the matrix manually, but anyways. So what we can do now is take a roll parameter here instead. Where does... Is this like times math.tau? Okay, sure. Not sure that's the best way to do it, but and then maybe, so this is not gonna be like a, let's just try this. Roll is an F42, and this one doesn't, let me show. Here we have the movement left and right. So if we say just player.roll equals 0, this is just for the first testing of it. Maybe we'll do some little more cool stuff soon. Whee! Wow, that's a lot. I think I know. Oh, I think I know what happened here. I wanted to try working in turns. So turns is that 0 to 1 is a complete rotation. So that's why it's like this. I'm not sure that's... I think it's one of those things where it's easy to think about, but when you interact with MATLAB, it's actually maybe better to just work in radians. I know Casey Muratori talked about working in turns. So a turn, like one turn is a one whole complete rotation around some axis. But I think it's one of those things where it's easy to explain, but then it's maybe not completely practical. So it's, yeah. Oh, thank you, Mehdi. So something like that. Oh, well, not, of course not like that, but something like that. Should we... Well, so 0.2 is 20% of a lap around, which is a lot. So it should be like 0.02 maybe. That will make it into a... And then we should make some kind of... Wait, it's going the wrong way, is it? Wait, if I'm... Yeah. Is it? Yeah, so if you run sideways, you probably lean out a bit towards the side. Wait. Oh, okay, it doesn't actually work at all. Because you see, when I'm looking at this direction, nothing happens. So it's... We need to rotate that up vector. I'm not sure if this is the best way to do it. This is... Usually when you do these kind of things, you play around with it a bit until you realize that you can do it in a 10 times simpler way. But this up vector here should I guess feels like I'm doing it a bit weirdly. Because I could do this right. I could take the yeah, that works. Does it work when I look up? It's a bit hard to tell, is it? Look down here. Yeah, it seems like it. And this is inverted now. Now if I turn around, it still works. Yeah. So, yeah, now it always works. So what I did there was I rotate. So this is a bit, this coder is a bit all over the place, but this thing here is up. So up is, you take the up vector, which is straight up, positive y, up, and then you have your roll. So you roll that a bit, which is taking this vector and you sort of tilt it to the side, but that's now in sort of, yeah, like someone said, sort of in world space. So it's sort of like, if you turned around, then that would still rotate in sort of not in the local space of which way you're looking. So then I multiplied that by the rotation, which includes the yaw and the pitch. Not sure if it should include the pitch, but it's good enough for. I'm sure there is a better way to do this, like, because this is a lot of matrix multiplications. Maybe you can hand write the little matrix instead, or at least what I've done these kind of things sometimes before, where I look at what all the matrix multiplications actually do, and then I write it down on a paper. You just do the multiplication on paper, and then you look at it and like, oh, the end result is just this, and this, and this. So you can actually, like, yeah, you could write out each matrix with give each element of the matrix a unique name. So you give them all, like, the rotation matrix has everything in there has this name, and then you see what it cooks down to when you multiply it. And then you could just hard code it, because with each field just manually constructed. Because sometimes things cancel out, or you see, or maybe you just do that and then you see, oh, I can use this other procedure instead to do that. It's always good to understand the math. So what we're gonna do now is maybe do a little tweening, as they call it in the biz. And I was thinking, I looked a bit at there's some easing stuff built into ODIN, but that stuff looked like it needed a whole little system for it, because I don't want this to be like that. I want it to be like build up a bit. And I hacked in the FOV, the field of view offset. I hacked in yesterday, so it sort of it pulls the camera back a bit. There, you see. I showed this before. So that's a little that I've just hacked in for now. It's just like, does this, the current FOV offset plus how fast they should change, and then it clamps it in a range. So that's all it does. And then it uses that when this is used later. Here, create projection matrix. Then it's like, oh, 60 degrees of view plus FOV offset. And you get this effect, right? So what we can do instead is, well, what I'm going to try to do here is make, so there is, in east, so if you go into core math east.odin, you have this little thingy here, right? And this has lots of nice sort of like generic easing functions. So an easing function is essentially, this is the website. I think they have a little demo, stuff like this. So it's essentially you have, what's a good one? Maybe this. Whatever, it doesn't matter really which one we look at. Oh, there's no better demo than this. Wait, I'm gonna find another one. I have a one I like. And this one I like. So here it's like, this is a linear. So what you think about here is that you put in a value between 0 and 1, and then you get back a value between 0 and 1. That's the whole thing. But then you can, if in this case, you put in a value between 0 and 1, and you get out a value between 0 and 1, but at the start it will give you something that is like damped a bit, and then it sort of goes a bit more linear like that, and then you have stuff like this. Well, this gives you at when the value you put in is 1, you get 0 back, but it's in the middle. It's in the middle here. It's 1. So it just maps a value between 0 and 1 to another value between 0 and 1. That's all it does. This is a classic, like a smooth step. This is the super classic. It starts slowly, goes fast in the middle, and then that will give you a very nice sort of little smooth feeling. Usually in games, if you want something to feel 10 times better, try different sort of these kind of easing functions. So you use like, okay, maybe if you hit something, maybe it should start super fast, and then it should do a little bounce at the end. Or if something appears on the screen, like a card flies in, maybe it starts very fast, and then it sort of does a little smooth stop, but it's not just immediate. Those kind of things. It will make it feel a lot better. So Odin comes with, in the ease.odin, like these, you see, quadratic in. That's just, that's this one. So this thing here implements this. You see here, there's some code here for how this thing is built. This says time.time here. And this is time multiplied by time, and here it's, p multiplied by p. Many people talk about t, the parameter in being time, but you think of it as normalized time between 0 and 1. So if you want something to take 5 seconds, then you start a timer and you count upwards, and you divide that value by 5. So when 5 seconds has passed, it's 1. So that's how you normalize it. You so like, what's the upper limit for how long this thing can take? That's what you feed in, right? So then we can try. Maybe we can start with the running sideways like this. Try to put something in that makes it. I think it should start very quickly, and then it should start quickly and end smoothly. Maybe something like this. Smooth. What's this? Okay, so smooth start. Yeah, something like this maybe. It should be. Maybe with a little. Yeah. So we'll play around with that. There is at the bottom of this file something called Flux, which is some kind of system for managing your tweens. And tweens are usually in between values means. So that means, some kind of in between state. So there's a little system here for managing this. I'm just gonna hack together my own. There is a nice ease procedure here where you can send in a type. So you can use these names. So you send in a name plus a value, and then you get out a new value. So maybe I'll use that, but I won't probably use this because I looked at it and it just felt like it would make my code a bit complicated somehow. So let's try this. Let's try making a little easing thing. AKCSC asks, can you suggest something for accurate 2D top-down collision which can be built on top of rl.check collision procedures? Yeah, I would say I will bring out maybe, hold on. Sorry, I'm gonna just derail because I think this is an interesting question for the jammers. Yeah, wall collisions. Yeah, exactly. So if we look at the cat and onion source, update the collision. So the best way I found that's easy. Well, actually, it's maybe better if we look in this 3D game, but it's the same for 2D. So you, well, actually, this doesn't use RAYLIB, so maybe it's better to look here. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, maybe it's this. So what we do here is my player has a position and a velocity, right? So I first just add the y to the y part. So to the y position I add the y part, and then I loop over all the colliders. I get the collider, and then I check if it collides, and then you can get collision rect. This procedure, RL will get collision rect. That will give you the overlap. So the overlap means, so you're sending your player collider here and the collider of the thing in the world. If there is an overlap, now we've only moved in y direction so far, right? So if there is an overlap, then the height will not be 0 of this little overlap collider. Then you can check which side of this overlap are we on. So this is a bit of a hacky hack here, but that this essentially means that I'm looking, the sign here is the player past, is the mid, I think it's the middle of the player past the center, like is it above or below the center of the collider, essentially. Yeah, that's the sign. And then we just ignore all this is gameplay specific, but the fix for getting out of collision is just to take the height of the collider times the sign. That's because the sign says which direction we should go, because the height doesn't have a sign. Then we add that, right? So you can ignore all this. It's just like we can just, yeah, it's just this, essentially. And that's in y direction. And then you go ahead and you add the x position. You add the velocity in the x direction times the time to the x. So you only go in x part. And then you go over all the colliders again and you do the same thing. You get the collision rectangle, blah, blah, blah. Then you check the width. Exactly the same thing. Get the sign using the x position and the width of, like, so you know if is the player to the right or the left of the thing. And then you add the fix to that. An important thing here is to, after you've done the y part, recalculate the player collider. Don't use the same player collider, because then it will start jittering, because the player collider, when it does the x part, won't know about the movement it did because the y part, so it will start to move it some extra. So yeah. This is, of course, maybe not the most optimal thing to do, because you loop over all the colliders. Like, you can do some spatial partitioning maybe, but if in a game jam game, just try looping over all the colliders and do y first and then x. What more to think about here? I also implemented the kind of fix your time step, you know, fixed DT time step here. But that's a bit extra. That's not important to get the basics going. And people might be like, why can't you do this in one go? Why can't you just get the overlap between both and just add the fix? Right. That's a fair question. And how do you explain why that doesn't work? It's like, it depending on, like, in your game, maybe you want to be like, okay, we want to always push out in x direction first and then in y direction. But if you do it both at the same time, then you will get this weird direction where it sort of points maybe a bit upwards. So you thought that you run into a wall, right, from the side. And then you get pushed up a bit because it was like, oh, but you were a bit like not near the center of the wall. So we also gave you a sort of push in the other direction. So it gives you both an x and a y push to get, but you could actually resolve it by first just getting pushed in x and then getting pushed in y, maybe. But quite often you only get pushed in x or in the y, not both. It makes it a much cleaner collision. So I actually do this in my game here in 3D, which starts to get like bizarre because you loop 3 times over everything. I thought maybe I could do like a nice broad face for this, where I just loop once over all the colliders. I could maybe inflate the colliders a bit, make them a bit bigger, and then I just check, is the player inside this inflated thing? And then I put them on a temporary list, and then I only use those for this thing. Or you could do spatial partitioning, where you're like, okay, which objects, like you split the world up into like segments of like 100 by 100 meters or whatever you have, distance measurement you have in your game. Yeah, but yeah, that's I can't say that if it's gonna work for your game, but I think that's it's a good simple method that's easy to understand without involving like crazy 2D physics. Yeah, I should maybe make a little that would be fun. Maybe I should put a little like a little repository on GitHub someday of this. Just RAYLIB, ODIN RAYLIB plus this thing, just a box that, like, you know, with a few colliders, because it's easy. Maybe with the correct time step and everything. Maybe there can be 2 versions. Who knows? Hello. Wait, now I have to think. Hello, Mr. Brazilian. I was thinking how to pronounce your name. The A with the little curly on top. It's like sometimes the little curly makes it a J sound or a little, I don't know. Ja, ju, jao. I don't know. Sorry. Mr. Brazil. I'm just making no sense anymore. Right. So, we were thinking about doing some tweens, whatever you want to call it. And like I said, this is for the Odin 7-day jam. So if you want to join the jam, if you want to make some games, you can still do that. It's like 5 days left. So just hop onto the itch page and join the Discord server and make a game using Odin. It'll be fun. Some of the games that people are posting are starting to look really nice. Right. So let's maybe I never liked the word tween. I don't know why. It just sounds, I don't know, it sounds like a programming term from TikTok or something. Sorry. It's like an east value, right? No, I don't know. So for an ease, so what we're gonna do here is the walking. We're gonna ease that, and I'm just thinking I'll do it manually with my own little thing, because I think having something where it's easy to do this, so you can easily just add it, is good, right? So the target is an F32. That's where we want, and the current is an F32. That's where we currently are. And the start is a time. And then maybe we can import this E stuff here. Import core math ease. Is that where it is? Core math ease. Okay, yeah. And then let's just, for now, we will only support one ease function, like this. And then start ease is a proc. So we have like that takes a target, F32. And then an ease. That's what we need, I think. Oh, this is this naming here is getting So let's try like that. So it's okay. Joan. Oh, so it's the Brazilian version of I mean my Joe of there's a Swedish name Johan and the German Johan and all that. So it's the same name, I guess. It's actually my name. My name is Carl Johan. So same. Named after one of the Sweden's most popular mushrooms, and I don't even like mushrooms. Some kind of grand joke. The combined name, Carl Johan, is a common forest mushroom. Target current is 0. Start is g.time, and funk is funk. Something like that. No, curry you don't need. Okay. So let's try that. And then we go up here and we say just roll is an east float. Like that maybe. Then we compile and get some compilation errors. Right. So then we say like this. p.roll is a make is. And then target is minus 0.02. And the func is, well, I don't know what to pick, but I think these need to be combined maybe. So you do several. But let's just use one of these. Cubic in out. Just trying to figure out which one is which. Cubic in. That's like this one. No, it's this one. Can we? I mean, I can just write, this is the funny thing with these things. The hard thing is not writing this to me. That I can do myself. Let's see. Whatever. Let me we'll start by just manually. I'll try to figure out the easing functions later, which one to use, because yeah, to me it's just this it's just tiny math things like this, right? Hello, Akku. So I don't care about this one right now. I guess if none of these are held, then it should ease to 0. Which is weird. Okay, sometimes you will... I see a problem here. Sometimes you will need to know, like, okay, where did I start? I start here. Oh well. We'll see how that goes for now. Okay, so we have that fixed. And now we just need to evaluate the ease. This just takes one of these, and then I just go like T is target divided by, no. You take this, the G dot time minus G dot, no, F dot start, that's the time divided by target. You clamp it, at least I like clamping these kind of things, in a 0 to 1 range, and then you return. I will hard code this right now because I can't be bothered with choosing an easing function right now. 1 minus t times 1 minus t. Like that. Should give us an evaluated ease. So do eval ease p dot roll. Then we do R in there. No, roll, I mean. This would be the wrong type. Let's see here. Target. Okay, so we cast this on F42. Okay. Oh yeah, it's starting over constantly. I realize. That's an interesting problem. You need to start at a certain value. Like you need to know where you start. Oh, yeah. So I'm just trying to generalize this a bit. Like I've done stuff like this before. I guess this is what if you look at the flux stuff. Now maybe it's easy to understand what this stuff does, but flux 2. But yeah, it would be nice to be able to just say, this is what I want. This is the value I want. But you also need to know which one you currently have. You need to know when you started. I guess. I mean, an alternative is just to like have a okay, you can do like that. And then that just adds a certain amount of roll. I wonder what the best way to do this is. I'm not a tween master. I usually do this kind of things a bit. I do this kind of a bit more. I don't use any procedures to do this. I usually hack it in myself. But I was thinking that maybe if I generalize it a bit, I could make it easier to work with. Yeah, I'm not sure I want to use this. Just seems... Maybe I have a much simpler idea. Key down. Key held start key equals bah. That. And then you can check key hold duration is a proc, returns an F64, you need to put in a key, and then you say if not key held, then you just return 0, and then you say and then you just say return key held start g.time minus key held start key, like that. Then you know how long the key has been held down. Go back here, and then you can just say just lerp. We'll lerp for now, but that we'll fix that soon. How does linl.lerp T from 0 to minus 0.2 with keyhold duration 4.left divided by, well, this should happen. So this will make it go to that value 0.2 in 1 second. Maybe we do it 3 times faster. I think it's a bit... Well... Oh yeah. Wait. Wait. Keyhold duration, like that. This could be convert to F32, return on F32 here. Because it's good to store F64 for the start, but when you've done taken the difference and you're done, I would say it's fine to convert them. Now this wasn't a this was a procedure. That would make it better. This might not compile either because of it gets the polymorphic type from the first parameter. So it's a bit okay, and now this doesn't need to happen anymore. Wow. Whee! Wait, I think I did a funny up there. I think I used the wrong key and everything. Where is it? Yeah, here it says left. Right. I wonder why it sort of goes sad after a little while. Does seem to kind of work. Make it slower than after 1 second maybe. And here it starts hopping between. My finger returns weird number. More coffee. It's fun to make these sort of FPS camera controls completely from scratch. I mean, it's of course if someone makes a game jam in a big game engine and you have like a off-the-shelf character control, you get quicker to your gameplay, or if you have done it before. But it's fun. Fun to try to do these little effects on it. Anyways, what the hell? So. What's happening to this one? I prefer, Medi asks if I prefer using game engines or writing everything from scratch. I guess somewhere in between, like, I don't find it very fun to make game engines, but when you made enough games, you will start having like these. You will start having lots of like code you can reuse. Some people talk about like they almost build up a little framework over time or something. You know, you have like, yeah, you just have a lot of code to look at. And if you have something simple like Odin, where it's easy to just copy procedures, it doesn't like, you know, take the whole. In some languages, if you have like as big, you know, thing with if you have lots of like inheritance and derived classes and stuff in some languages, it's hard to actually pick out something, just put it in something else, because along with it comes this giant thing. But we use some nice procedures. It's usually quite easy to just, I don't even make a library. I just go to the old project and just copy. Like, oh, this is the thing I wanted. I'll copy. And it usually works. It doesn't, like, yeah, because it's just simple code. It usually works. Now let's see what is going on here. Did I lose? But I shouldn't lose precision from this, should I? Let's remove this. I'm just trying to understand the numbers, where this shakiness is coming from. Okay, I do lose precision. It seems like. Maybe subtracting two values like that is a bad idea. Well, we could return F64 here instead, I guess. But yeah, maybe you shouldn't do that. Like that. And then you just make this, because when it comes through the lerp, it's going to be fine. Okay. Yeah, I started over because I wasn't having fun with the 2D thing I was working on. I'm just playing around with SOKOL now and doing like trying to do like nice FPS, well, first person camera controls. With a little leaning around, and you can jump, stuff. But now, yeah, maybe it's a bad idea to do it like this. I know, it's a key, I think it's a key repeat thing. But, because I really think so. Let's look here. I didn't know this did key repeats, but maybe it does. Yep, key repeat. I didn't, yeah, of course I can fix that, but it's... Key repeat. Repeat. Ah, there's a flag. Yeah, I don't want any key repeats. If e.key. But also I can also check this like this. Key held, key. Well, add a little extra thing there. Ah, it's rolling over. Okay, good. Good, good. So now, just take this value, divide it by the target time, I think. How fast should this happen? Well, 1 second is fine, I guess. And then we can say t equals 1 minus t minus 1 times t minus 1. And then we send that in there. Something like that, maybe. Wow. And then we need to clamp this. No, it's SOKOL's event. Like you have event here, game event. You just process input. It just sends in the SOKOL. I just had to put in a different file, so that's why it's like that. This is just SOKOL. I'm just playing around with this now to see. Okay. Wait a minute. Ooh. Weird. I'm gonna add a longer piece of something to run on here. So we're gonna put it 10 meters away to the side. Oh yeah, is it this one that's rotated the wrong way? We shall see. Oh, there it is. Ah, there we go. That's exactly what I wanted. Wow. Okay, it's a bit thin. I ran off it. 4 meters. We can put it off 1 more meter to the side. I think the question from chat, why is the advantage of using SOKOL over RAYLIB for a first-person game? I think, honestly, I think RAYLIB is great for 2D, but using 3D in RAYLIB, you quite quickly run into limitations where you essentially need to modify RAYLIB to do these things you wanted to do. So, I just think you will need to go around and poke a lot anyways. Like, I was playing around with RAYLIB for 3D before, and I wanted instance rendering, and I used the RAYLIB's instance rendering, but I quite quickly, you know, I quite quickly needed to modify it. So I had to port the whole instance rendering procedure from RAYLIB to Odin and modify it. So it just felt like I was, and then I started, kind of stepping on RAYLIB's toes and started having to hack around to make it happy. That stuff doesn't usually happen when you make 2D games with RAYLIB. Then it's usually everything is fine, and you can make quite nice games that run quite well because of all the batching and stuff. But when you want an instance drawing, for example, with RAYLIB, and you have some custom rendering going on, then things can start getting a bit hairy. So I didn't actually... I think if you just do like basic lighting and want to learn some basic 3D game stuff, then you can do it using RAYLIB 3D and it's good. But once you want to do some kind of custom rendering with that combined with, for example, instanced rendering, it can get a bit hairy. And then you might as well use that. Then at that point, I don't think using a SOKOL is that much harder. I mean, using RAYLIB for 2D is, I would say, also easier than using RAYLIB for 3D. So the difficulty gap between RAYLIB and SOKOL is quite big. If you do 2D in SOKOL, then you must implement, all your sprite stuff. That's a lot of stuff to do before you can put the sprite on the screen. But if you do 3D, I think there is less of a gap. But I think RAYLIB is still, the point of RAYLIB is to sort of, for people to learn about how to program video games, not necessarily make it in the best possible way. Although RAYLIB 2D, I think, is perfectly fine for shipping 2D games. There's nothing, I don't think people should be afraid of that. They shouldn't be afraid of limitations. Yeah, there's also STL3 these days, which is STL3, the GPU API of STL3 is a lot, in many ways, similar to what SOKOL Graphics is. It's an abstraction of a rendering API. I haven't tried it just because I quite liked SOKOL, and SOKOL doesn't have any historical baggage, which I quite like. It's quite new, but yeah. Okay, quite nice coffee this. It's quite nice to have a thermos of coffee like this, and then you have a small cup, because then you get many hot small cups instead of getting like a big cup where it's cold after half the cup. This is too hot, and you look like you're from the past. Oh, that sounds nice. Mega Fresh Lemons, to use the SOKOL's a quad render with SOKOL. Yeah, I think you can make a little sprite render like that. That's fine. Okay, let's try to figure out what the hell is going on with this stuff. I guess all the tween pros should be screaming at me soon. Like, why is he doing it so complicated? If I just do... Thank you, Fabrizio, for buying my book. Yeah, you just hop on the Discord if you have any questions. There's even a channel about the book where you can ask questions. Or if it's a generic Odin question, you can ask in the Odin channel. Doesn't matter which. Okay, this is clearly going the wrong way. Start out by checking this is the raw, this is the linear lerp. Now the problem, okay, let's start with that before we do any kind of easings on it. The problem here is also that it snaps and it doesn't go back to the center and blah blah blah. I guess we could... Yeah, I think this is the typical stuff that you would use a nicer... but I will try to what-if myself into some kind of nice easing workflow. because, okay, this stuff we remove because I don't use it. So we have the roll, okay, maybe we can add a roll target. Wait, actually we don't need that there. We just need it locally. Load roll target is an F32 and okay. AKCSE says that they tried the collision method I used earlier, but one problem is that you get teleported from the right end of the wall. Yeah, that might be because you're not doing the sign stuff correctly. So, when I talked about this here, is that in order to know which direction you need to be pushed, there is like a width and a height of the collider, but you need a sign, which is essentially this stuff here, right? Which is, it's a measure of if you're to the left or to the right, like if the middle of the player is to the left of the, or the right of the middle of the collider. That's the sign. That's in Y direction. Then you need to do the same thing with width and the X. You use width here, and you use X here and here. Then you would get the sign in the X direction. Then you can use that. I'm using a relative coordinate parameter for that. Okay, I'm not sure how that... Aha. Player destination. Uh-huh. Yeah, that sounds... Maybe you need to simplify it somehow. When it gets to like that yeah, if there isn't like a player position, bam, there it is currently, then everything gets a bit harder. Oh, you mean that this is the relative to the wall? Yeah, but that doesn't measure, that thing doesn't measure if you're to the left or to the right of it, right? Because it play destination X, the width divided by 2 minus wall. So if you look at the code I posted here, it's you take the width, you need to add the width of the wall rect divided by 2 also, and the height, because you're just checking if you're to the left or the right of the thing. Like you're just measuring like exactly at where it starts, not measuring from the middle. So it's just gonna be very flimsy probably. So try adding here to the wall rect thingy. Try adding wall, take wall rect.x plus wall rect.width divided by 2. Then you have the same thing as my thing up here, right? And then you could check the sign of the X part and the Y part to see how that works. But yeah, it's since you have all this destination stuff, there might be other things that go wrong as well. It's easier when it's just a position and stuff. But yeah. I wonder how people do this in a nice way. lerp. Roll lerp t from 0 to roll target. I don't know. I don't really think that needs to be an F64, but oh, didn't compile. I was like, huh? Make ease, remove these guys. Shoo. Oh, no, there's nothing at all. Yeah, it's probably on the right track. It just feels a bit crude. So this is 0 by default. So we lerp. Oh, we don't have a roll target anymore. Oops. Okay. So now the problem is that it doesn't have any like I need a time as well for how long it's almost like I need a little state machine for this. It's like, okay, am I holding left? Okay, if I just started holding left, then we start this thing. If we just started holding right, then we start this thing. If we're doing none of them, then we start going towards the middle again. Because the thing missing here is the roll lerp t for when none of these are held, and that must be something that counts up. Right. I mean, I can hack in something here. That's like, yeah, we put a static variable here and be like, no key held t, just to show what I mean. I'll remove this in a bit. No key held t, and then we can 0 this in these cases. Blah, blah, blah. And we can do like this. We can put else here, and then we can be like, okay, no key held t plus equals t. Can do something like that, of course. That I think will. No, I thought. Oh yeah, like you said, you need to. Yeah. Mega fresh lemons is correct that this is wrong now as well, because then it becomes from 0 to 0. That's not correct either. Which is what I meant again, that you almost need a little state machine for handling these kind of things. Like, okay, you need to go. You need to go back to center from where you are, blah, blah, blah. And I've done these things before, I've done these things before totally manually. I was thinking if I could do it, I guess if I could do it in slightly more systematic. And I was looking at the flux stuff, and I think that does what I want, but I'm just... Or does it? Let's look at your code. I shut down Discord for some reason. Oh, nice, nice title screen you have there, Llama Toast. And here's Tony's little lighting. That's nice. You can post it whatever you want. Yeah, maybe Chris PHP's collision detection will help. I love the name Chris PHP. Personal homepage. Anyways. Right. Haven't touched PHP in years. It's also a very it's a very you like the PHP influencer? Whee. See, look at your collision detection. So if I can spot. Doing strings check, by the way, doing string checks in here might not be that fast, but that's beside the point. It's a bit of a deep nesting going on. I see you have a grid. Blah, blah, blah. So one thing here is, I think I said this before, but this the player destination you use here, you can't reuse the same as up here. Wait, you've moved the player destination here. Maybe that works. the question, yeah, there are some things here that you seem. I guess it would be nice to get it working as it is. I mean, there is some things here that you could probably simplify, like having a string check here, and then the whole player destination. That just sounds like you have even a weird name to the player position, maybe? I don't know if that's a global variable. And but where do you move the player? Oh, wait. So the thing I said in my code is that what you need to do is your player has a, like, if you look back at what I did here, this part is important, that you, here we're going to consider the y direction, and we move it in y direction. The position, to the position we add the velocity times the time. Or if you just have input here, like if you, yeah, whatever. But you only move it in the y direction first. Then you do the whole thing, and then you move it in x direction and get the new player position and stuff. So you can't, it can't sort of be, this can't be like moved to the final position before this is checked, run. Maybe you can just take this out of this procedure and put it in like your main update procedure, and yeah, but you must combine them. Just combine it all, because this little funny method of doing it, you must move it first in x. So here you move in x here, then you do all this, and then you move it in y and you do all this. Otherwise the sort of, it doesn't work. And like I said, like maybe you can look at, all this naming is a bit confusing to me with player destination. Maybe it can be just the player position. So you just have the player, like you just have the movement you want to add to the player position. So you add the movement in x direction to the player position, then you do that. But yeah, I think that's the problem. I love how this, when this thing goes into shadow, it becomes, there it looks like a floor, but it's actually the wall behind there. Okay, let's return to my silly stuff here. Remove cat and onion source. Yeah, so now I'm trying to figure out a nice way to do this without involving any big things. For what I'm even saying, without involving any big things. I think I'm gonna play around with this a bit off stream. This was just supposed to be a quick update stream. So if you want to join the game jam, please just hop on the Discord, on the itch page, and click join. We have, how many people we join? itch.io. Let's see. We have 219 people joined, and we have 5 days and 2 hours left. So, I mean, there's lots of game jams that are like only 2 days. So if you want to join now, just join, and you can make a game in 5 days. It's gonna be fine. And then you can hop on here, click register, and then you submit your game here when you're done with it. Submit before this countdown reaches 0. And there are some rules down here, how you do it. And there is a schedule, and there is a link to the Discord server here where you can post up progress pictures and stuff. So yeah, that's it from today's little update stream. I'll see you maybe tomorrow or later or something. Have a good one. Bye bye.